Hello, dear friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is news time again from this very good channel. Welcome back. How are you all doing? Hope you're good. I pray that God will be with you in your endeavors. Today, we have another update for you. And I want you to, after listening to it, you drop your opinion and suggestions you have so that Biafra will be free. And that's just it. Okay, let's go there.
What I'm requiring is the removal of the removal of personal in section 24 of the Constitution, section 262, section 277, and section 288, so that other relevant laws, like the commercial law, Islamic commercial law, the Islamic company law, the Islamic international law, can have a place in the Constitution.
Nigeria is a secular state, and be it as it may, our constitution is one of the most liberal when it comes to governance of a nation. Mr. Speaker, our constitution allows for freedom of worship of all religions. Mr. Speaker, we would not sit in this hollow chamber and restrict ourselves to just a few. If we begin to put such components into the Constitution, tomorrow the ecclesiastical faction comes up. The day after, the traditional faction comes up. The day after, all other components begin to come up. And what happens to our grand norm that is supposed to be the foundation of our existence? Mr. Speaker, Nigeria has never limited anybody from practicing his religion. You go to states like in the north, where you have Sharia being practiced as the criminal code for those states. It is because it's peculiar to them as a people and as a persons. By the time we begin to expand it and bring it into our constitution, we are not an Islamic state. We're a secular state. We're not a celestial state. We're a secular state. We are not a traditional worship state. We're a secular state that respects and gives everybody a sense of belonging. We're a nation. We need to be sensitive to the mood and the existence, freedom of speech, freedom of association, to live in happiness, not a scenario whereby there could be some misconceptions. To this end, I wish to crave the indulgence of the sponsor of this bill that he steps it down for more legislative input.
Mr. Speaker, I want to, with respect, differ from the mover of the bill on the need for us to amend the Nigerian Constitution in this particular instance. And I'm saying this, Mr. Speaker, because as students of history, we all know the issues surrounding the particular section in reference, especially at the various constituent assemblies leading to the 1979 Constitution, the 1989 Constitution that was not promulgated, and now the 1999 Constitution. Mr. Speaker, the drafters of the Nigerian Constitution are very conscious of the secularity of the Nigerian nation, and also very conscious of the sensitive nature of religion. And I remember the 1976 Constituent Assembly, the 1979 Constitution, was very, very contentious on this matter until the then federal military government came in to stop further debate on this matter and took a decision that the application of Islamic laws will only be constrained to personal matters, which has to do with administration of estates and some other issues. Mr. Speaker, we have to be very, very conscious of whatever we do to alter the Nigerian Constitution in a manner that will further widen the divides that we have as a country. And in any case, Mr. Speaker, like my previous colleague said, the matters which my colleague seek to address by this proposal is already covered by our existing laws. The Kama law, covers regulation on issue of finances and allows for application of Islamic principles of financial transaction. The same thing with the CBN Act, like you rightly said. And the moment we allow the Constitution to be altered to take care of all manner of interests, we will no longer be in a state where the sanctity of the Constitution is respected, and the intent of the drafters of the Nigerian Constitution via or as regards to the secular nature of the Nigerian nation might be threatened if we allow this to go on. Mr. Speaker, I sincerely think that this bill should not pass on for the second reading for these reasons I've adduced. Thank you.
But we have to consider, and considering also the divisions we have in this country, we have to consider the ethics, the values, and the interest of the masses. Because we are here in this hollow chamber to represent the Nigerians, and also not to make a religion or a tribe or a community, not to constrain them from practicing something which is their way of life. We all know that Nigeria comprises of so many religions and also tribes and communities. But these religious matters, we consider it as a way of life, not just a mere religion. So considering the ethics and the values and the interest of the masses, not looking at the division or being cautious of what this will cause, Mr. Speaker, I think this bill is supposed to pass for the second reading. In my opinion, Mr. Speaker, we need to commend the Honorable Misau for coming up with this bill in order to unite and to create a room, free room or an interest for people that are practicing Islamic religion to practice their religion freely and to consider some way of lives which comprises so many things.
And I think we need to understand the subject matter of this bill. The bill is calling for description of Islamic law. In other words, the bill is seeking the House to define, because of the existing situations now, looking at the issue of, like he rightly caught, other commercial laws that have not been embedded, that have not been taken care into the Constitution. I think it's a straightforward bill. He is not calling the fact that, he's not calling for expunging the existing Sharia law, but rather to define it in order to encompass all those, existing situations that have just come up. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he's not talking about Sharia law. He's talking about the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The Constitution mandates our government that they shall not adopt any religion as a state religion, meaning that Nigeria is a secular state. Number two is the fact that Section 38 is very clear as to the rights given to all Nigerians in terms of choice of religion and how they worship. Section 2 goes further to say that Nigeria is a federation consisting of the federal government and then the state government, giving the states the liberality to adopt whatever kind of law they want to use in governing their people. And that's why we have some states with all this Sharia law and all of that. They are permitted to do it, the States House of Assembly. But the Constitution, as the ground norm that governs all of us, the traditional institutions, the Obas in the Yoruba land, the Igwe in the east, the Shakiri, the Fulanis, the Hausas, gives us only one right, the right to choose whichever one we want. We can therefore not allow this constitution to become so filled with frivolities that is supposed to be the mandate of the state. We have all been clamoring for physical federalism. Give more power to the states to do it the way they want, to do it in the way of the culture of their people. And that's why I want to implore the mover of this motion to please allow us to please step down this amendment for the time being so that we can.
I understand how sensitive matters related to religion are, especially in this country. But the fact of the matter is we cannot treat religion issues in isolation. There are issues that we must bring to the front burner and discuss, irrespective of how sensitive they are. I didn't want to stand, but I looked at the sensitivity. Even from the argument, you could see the sensitivity that is driving the sentiment that is driving the argument. But if we focus,
Honorable Ali, approach the chair.
If we focus on what the bill intends to achieve,
Honorable, approach the chair.
the bill intends to review the description of Islamic law, which means it's already enshrined in the Constitution. What it seeks to achieve is to review the description. So it's already in the Constitution. I don't understand why we will see it as something that will lead to snowball into a crisis or what have you. This is what we have done that over the years that has led us to not make progress on certain issues. It doesn't matter how sensitive these issues are. We must be able to debate them. This is what our people sent us here to do. You know, if we run away from discussing a problem, if we assume it to be a problem, and we're running away from discussing it, how will you provide a solution to it? I will agree and accept the fact that there is need for further, broader consultation. But for us to run away from the problem, for us to drop it and say it's not an issue to be discussed on this floor, I don't think it's something that is acceptable. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Mine is an appeal because of the mood in the House now, that this bill be stepped down for when we have all our leaders seated, so that they can also contribute to the debates. I want to appeal that if you look today now, most of the leaders are on their way to Jigawa State to commiserate with them. Because of the sensitive nature of this bill, my appeal is for us to step it down and let us have a full house and full time to discuss this bill.
You know that our country is a unique country. No matter how you look at it, our diversity is what defines us. So when issues like this come up, it must be thoroughly looked into and should not be done in a haste. Let me ask you, how many of you have copies of this bill? If you have, I would like to know the percentage of people who have copies of this bill. And you can, if I ask you about 1 or 2 paragraphs, you read it for me. If I appoint you now and say, give me 2, 3 paragraphs in that bill, and you're able to mention it to us, it means that you have it. Let me ask you, if you know you don't have a copy, raise your hand. And it is the rule of this house that you must have a copy so that you debate from that copy. If you say you have a copy, I'll call you now and I'll ask you questions on some of the paragraphs and the sections it's referring to. You will not be able to answer it. And this issue is an issue that we need to thoroughly analyze.
Please, order, please.
It is our rule here that issues like this, we must have copies we look at. And if the copies are not there, we take another step. But I won't be taking that step from this chair. It will come from the house. So if the majority of the people say they don't have copies of this bill, whether it is good or bad, you don't have the copies, you need to have the copies for us to deliberate on it. Let me hear you, Nkem Kama. Please, your microphone. We can't hear you. Use the one that is working.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Kama Nkem Kama is my name. I represent the awesome people of Ohozara, Onitsha, and Iwo Federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Ebonyi State. Mr. Speaker, this motion is a very sensitive one. This bill is a very sensitive one. And before this bill can be talked about here or debated, one, I believe that all of us here should have a copy of this bill to look at it. and be able to go through it because of the sensitivity of this particular bill, sir. Mr. Speaker, I don't envy you today, but one thing I'm very sure, I hereby move that this bill...
Please, somebody has the floor. Allow him to finish.
Please.
Then we'll recognize him.
And I have the position of the Speaker. I hereby move that this bill be stepped down today and let it be shared for all of us to have a look at.
Point of order, sir.
Mr. Speaker.